You are listening to the Call to Action podcast, where we aim to inspire, educate, and inform entrepreneurs and self-starters on tech and tips related to navigating this ever-changing world. Hello, everyone. Finally, I'm releasing episode 1 of the new Call to Action podcast. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Shantae. I am the host of the Call to Action podcast, and I'm going to share some things about myself that I'm sure you probably do not know. So here's a chance for you to get to know me a little better as we go on our journey as entrepreneurs and self-starters. So to begin with, I have been an entrepreneur for over 10 years, and I have learned a lot while I have been on this journey, and I am continuously learning. Every day, it's a learning process. So what I wanted to do was with this podcast was to share what I've been learning and to connect with other entrepreneurs and self-starters, because what I did learn on this journey and what I'm still learning is that, first of all, it's not easy, but it does help when you have other people that are on the same journey and where you can learn from each other and lean on each other, and listening to someone that has been through something or has an experience as an entrepreneur that can help you with getting to your next step. So that's the point of the podcast. Also, for it to be informative and also inspiring and educational, because I plan to have guests on the show where they're either sharing where they are in their journey or some things that they've learned that can help you while you're on your journey and help me while I'm on mine as well. So this is not my first podcast. I currently have another podcast that I do, and you may have heard it. It is called Brilliant Events and Venues. So you may see that being promoted on my blog, ctamarketing.biz, or you also may see it in my social media from time to time. I do promote that when it's relevant to what I'm doing with CTA Marketing. So take a look or take a listen. You may enjoy what I share on that podcast as well. Now, as far as CTA Marketing, this is really a remake of an older one that I did, and it was called Mobile Site Link Exchange. I started that way back a long time ago, like back in 2009. Very old, yes, very old. But I was like, I could be the next Google for mobile sites. But that was back in 2009, and a lot has changed since then. But at the same time I was doing that, I had actually had another business going with my partner and husband, and that started to take off, and it started to take another direction. And that business actually required pretty much all of my attention. And as a result of me giving my attention to our full-time business, the blog slowed down. My personal blog, the Mobile Site Link Exchange blog, slowed down, and the videos slowed down, and my podcast I'd done before had slowed down almost to a complete stop just because I was really busy. So understandable. But just with the exception of a few posts here or there, I really did not get a chance to give the Mobile Site Link Exchange blog and podcast the attention that I had started when I initially did it back in 2009. So let's fast forward. And while my other business was taking off and doing really well, things were changing. I got out of the social media aspect. And when I came back, it's like I turned around and looked. I was like, whoa, you got Instagram, you got Facebook, you got Twitter. They really started to gain traction from 2009 up until where we are now. And what happened was I found myself trying to relearn these things and trying to play catch up. I found myself talking to other people who had experienced the same thing, or people who were just getting into social media, and was like, what do I do? What is all of this? Where do I begin? And it can be a little overwhelming just because there's so many different social media sites. So what I found was that I learned by talking with them. We learned from each other. And I decided I'm going to put this in the form of a podcast, so it's easily digestible. I'll also have information on my blog so that I can share information between the blog and the podcast, and between both places, we can all go on this journey together and get through this. So I invite you to subscribe to the Call to Action podcast. And the podcast is really, it's here for us as we're on our journey. So we're navigating this ever-changing world. And what I will do is I will share what I have learned. And again, I'll have guests on the show that will share what they have learned, some valuable information. And it's going to be for the entrepreneurs and the self-starters, and for people who are aspiring to be an entrepreneur, or who may just need that nudge, just that little bit of information just to help get them over the edge so they can make that step to either start a new project or start their own business. Or sometimes people just want to start a side business, just something to supplement what they're doing, a way to have some self-expression. I get it, So this will be an avenue. This will be a channel that you can use to help get some information to help get us to the next level. And I'm saying us because this is our journey together. This podcast has a unique approach. It is for all types of entrepreneurs and self-starters. But the difference is that the content it's not just about making money. The content that you're going to get from the Call to Action podcast, it's going to be well-rounded. It's going to provide information from a holistic perspective. We're going to cover topics from everything from marketing to self-care. So I just want to let you know that this will definitely be a unique approach to entrepreneurship. And I just want to thank you in advance for coming along on this journey with me. And again, I'm inviting you to subscribe to my channel, no matter where you are. If you're listening to the podcast, if you're on YouTube, if you're on social media, just look for me at CTA Marketing and make sure that you like, subscribe, connect, and so that we can work together as we go on our journey of entrepreneurship and being a self-starter. So here's a call to action that I have for you. I would like for you to visit my website at ctamarketing.biz and leave me a message. If there is a topic that you would like covered that I haven't covered in the blog, let me know. If there's a topic that you would like for me to cover in my podcast, let me know that as well. And you can just use the contact form. I will get the information and we will go from there. So I want to thank you again for listening, and I want to invite you to subscribe to the podcast so that you can get updates as new podcasts are posted. Currently, I do plan to post once a week. If I'm feeling like I have more to say, then I will post more often. Make sure you subscribe so that no matter what, you get a notification that there's a new Call to Action podcast available. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Call to Action podcast. Make sure to visit me on my blog at ctamarketing.biz. There, you can find articles for entrepreneurs and self-starters on tech and tips to help navigate this ever-changing world. Until next time.